Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid walam yulad walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. On behalf of Workers Employed by Bilateral Council of Pakistan and Employees Federation of Pakistan, I welcome you all to this webinar on decent work, the social and the solidarity economy, organized on the occasion to celebrate the Labor Day, Pakistan. WEBCOP is a partnership for peace, productivity, and prosperity, promoting social dialogue between the industrial partners for harmonious industrial relations, creating an environment of trust and harmony between the industrial partners so as to provide them an opportunity to better understand each other's viewpoints on labor issues and arrive a consensus conclusions that help in implementations. Now I will request Zaki Ahmed Khan, Chairman, Workers Employed by Bilateral Council of Pakistan Central, and the Vice President, Employees Federation of Pakistan, for a formal welcome address.
Thank you, Nazab. Mr. Ravi, Senior Specialist Actem, Mr. Mandra, Officer in Charge, ILO Office, Islamabad, Mr. Amado Sako, External Affairs of Africa from IOE, Mr. Zahoor Awan, President Pakistan, Mr. Zahoor Awan, Governing Body Member, Chaudhry Naseem, Pakistan Worker Federation, President Employee Federation of Pakistan, and distinguished guest, my colleagues of WEBCOP, very good morning and good afternoon. It is my proud privilege to welcome you all to the webinar organized by WEBCOP in collaboration with EFP on the event of May Day. As the chairman of WEBCOP, let me first all pay tribute to employer and worker to the great sacrifice made by the worker in the May Day struggle, which has inspired in the tripartite constitute of the ILO to engage a century-long efforts, providing international labor standards of framework to respect, protect fundamental right at work. As a tool to promote peace and social justice in order to build inclusive social society where economic should prosper with the social solidarity. In Pakistan, the Institute of WEBCOP was formed more than 2 decades ago, visualizing the need for employer and workers to establish the bilateral forum. So in the Institute of WEBCOP was formed more than 2 decades ago, visualizing the need of employer and worker establish a bilateral forum, debate and discuss economic and social issues in order to develop consensus of policies contributing the social and economic growth. Based on the recommendation of promotion on cooperative and transition of the from informal to formal economic employment and decent work for the peace and alliance, the ILO this year plans to bring in the general discussion the contribution of the value-based cooperative and SMEs in the promoting of employment and decent work with the possible outcome of resolution. The objective of the discussion will be to provide a framework conducive for the SSE as a level to promote productivity, job creation, skills, worker rights. SSE is a pillar of the balanced society and human-centered future of work and may prove to be a game changer in the promoting employment and decent work for peace and reliance in Pakistan. It is for the first time that we are initiating the discussion of SSE, and there could be a better an occasion of the May Day when the tripartite constituent of the ILO could start the pondering on the future of SEC in changing the world of work. We generally look forward that our valued stakeholder will set the pace today for the meaningful discussion of the subject, which will be provide substantial meat to the government, worker, and employment delegates to make valuable contribution when the subjects come under the general discussion at the ILO. I would like to thank you, distinguished panelists, and agreeing to participate in the discussion today and make our May Day celebrating event successful and productive. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, Zaki Bhai, for your formal welcome. Bureau of Employers Activities is a specialized unit within the ILO that maintain close relation with the employers and the business membership organizations and help them in building a strong and independent representative organization to respond the need and challenges of the member organizations. I will request Mr. Ravi, our friend, for his remarks on the subjects. Mr. Ravi, please.
Thank you very much, Nazar. Mr. Zaki Ahmed Khan, Chairman, WEBCOP Central. Mr. Mahendra Naidu, Officer in Charge of ILO Country Office, Islamabad. Mr. Amadou Sakho of IOE. Mr. Zahur Rahman, Member, Governing Body, ILO. Respected dignitaries and officers of the Government of Pakistan, trade unionists, employer representatives, ladies and gentlemen. I am deeply honored and privileged to join you virtually on behalf of the Bureau for Employers Activities of the ILO on this special day to celebrate a unique occasion. Today is a special day to the workers of the world. We all know the significance of it. Today is also a unique occasion as you have jointly, as workers and employers, organized this webinar under the umbrella of Workers Employers Bilateral Council of Pakistan, which is WEBCOP. This, in my view, is remarkable. Very often, we find 1st of May being celebrated only by the workers. I truly believe that a celebration of workers is a celebration for employers as well. My mind goes back to 2011 when I was working for the Employers Federation of Ceylon in Sri Lanka, when we jointly with the trade unions had to oppose a piece of labor legislation the government wanted to pass. Together, we made joint statements and took part in media campaigns. And at that time, one business leader called me and asked, he said, Ravi, why are you exposing yourself to this issue on the media when the trade unions are fighting anyway for it? I said, sir, the workers are our workers first. A problem for workers is a problem for employers. During my tenure of office as employer specialist for ILO in South Asia, I'm happy to note the close interactions employers and trade unions have had in Pakistan. It will not be incorrect to say that Pakistan taught us how to institutionalize bipartite dialogue through the formation of WEBCOP. We are aware that WEBCOP is engaged in promoting bilateralism and creating awareness through dialogue, workshops, seminars on rights and obligations of workers and employers, compliance of labor standards, impact of globalization on industry, and capacity building of workers and employers to prepare them to respond to the challenges of new world of work. We are all aware that the impact of the COVID pandemic on the world of work had a cruel way of reminding us all that dialogue and consultation is key to survive. It emphasized the reality that there needs to be unity in adversity. In this context, the joint declaration released by the Pakistan Workers' Federation and the Employers' Federation of Pakistan, stating their intention to work together, is commendable. And this has already been showcased by the ILO as a great example of bipartite social dialogue in Asia. The purpose of this webinar is to create awareness and highlight the importance and crucial link between decent work and social and solidarity economy, and how the SSC contribute to attaining decent work and sustainable development. Promotion of SSC to advance decent work and sustainable development call for new forms of cooperation between governments, employers, workers, and societies at large. A conducive environment for the SSC can best be developed through tripartite participation and in consultation with other relevant and representative SSC organizations. Trade unions and employees organizations have unique roles to play in this economy. WEBCOP, being a joint bipartite organization, has both the capacity and ability to make an effective contribution. We hope that the policymakers will recognize this unique opportunity that Pakistan has through WEBCOP and make use of it to its fullest potential. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, let me close by referring to another reality that we all experienced during the pandemic. Before the pandemic, the corridors of the world of work was buzzing with what the future holds for us. Future of work, disruptive technology, the impact of artificial intelligence on jobs was spoken very widely. After the pandemic, we were certain about one thing, that was uncertainty. But we should not be disheartened. The pandemic reminded us all that we need to focus on the present. I am reminded of the words of Master Oogway of Kung Fu Panda when he said, "Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. That is why it is called the present." I would say present is an opportunity. WEBCOP is an opportunity to take employee bilateral relations to greater heights in Pakistan. Inshallah, I wish you all very productive and fruitful deliberations today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi, for your valuable remarks. International Labour Organization is a tripartite body, a UN agency that brings government, employers, and workers together to set labor standards, develop policies and programs for promoting decent work for all. We have with us Mr. Mahendra Naidu, the officer in charge, ILO Office, Islamabad. I will request him for his remarks. Mr. Mahendra, please.
Thanks very much. Mr. Zaki Ahmed Khan, Chairman of WEBCOP Central, Mr. Nazir Ali, EFP, Mr. Fasi Sadiq, EFP, Mr. Zahoor Avan, PWF, and member of the governing body of the ILO, Mr. Chaudhry Naseem Ahmed, President of PWF, representatives of government, my colleague, Mr. Ravi Pires, Employee Specialist for South Asia, Mr. Amadou Sako, IOE, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good morning to all. Firstly, best of Labor Day wishes to everyone. It is a pleasure for me to address you at this WEBCOP webinar. WEBCOP is a unique example of national level bipartite social dialogue, and this Labor Day focus on a topic of growing importance is both highly relevant and timely. In March 2021, the ILO governing body decided to place on the agenda of the upcoming International Labour Conference an item for general discussion related to decent work and the social and solidarity economy. This will be the first comprehensive discussion on the social and solidarity economy at the ILO. I will therefore focus my input on this important topic. The social and solidarity economy, abbreviated to SSE, is an umbrella term that covers a wide range of institutional units. Other terms closely associated with the SSE include, for example, social economy, social enterprise, solidarity economy, amongst others. Although the SSE is not new, its policy importance and visibility have grown significantly since the turn of the century. The ILO Declaration on Social Justice for a Fair Globalization of 2008 recognizes a strong social economy as critical to sustainable economic development and employment opportunities. The ILO 2019 Centenary Declaration for the Future of Work acknowledges the role of the SSE in generating decent work, productive employment, and improved living standards for all. The 2021 ILO Global Call to Action for a Human-Centered Recovery from the COVID-19 crisis recognizes the role of the SSE for a broad-based, job-rich recovery with decent work opportunities for all. It is therefore timely to discuss the value added of the SSE and its role in advancing social justice through decent work. The strength of the SSE in the Asia-Pacific region can be traced back to the principles of solidarity, reciprocity, and mutuality that are deeply rooted in the region's diverse cultures and traditions. In this regard, cooperatives constitute the backbone of the SSE in Asia-Pacific. Some examples of this are China, with more than 30,000 cooperative enterprises in 2020, Japan, where approximately 30% of the population is a member of one of 591 consumer cooperatives, and New Zealand, where the top 30 cooperatives, mutuals, and societies have a total revenue of 42.3 billion New Zealand dollars, a membership of 1.4 million, and employ close to 48,500 individuals. This clearly illustrates the very effective role that SSE units are able to play in promoting job and income opportunities. The social and solidarity economy can also consequently play a highly significant role in promoting social and economic development in Pakistan. This will, however, require the concerted attention and focus of key mechanisms like WEBCOP, and in particular, WEBCOP, I should say. In conclusion, I would again like to commend WEBCOP for initiating this important event to promote, enable, and activate the power of Pakistan's social and solidarity economy. The ILO Country Office for Pakistan looks forward to engaging further with WEBCOP towards achieving this objective. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahendra. Now I will request our friend from International Organization of Employer, Mr. Amadou Saku, for his remarks. Mr. Saku, please. Mr. Amadou, are you hearing me? Mr. Amadou, you are not audible. Yeah.
Hazar Sahab, no audio.
Madhav, your voice is not, we are not hearing your voice. You are not audible.
नजर भाई वो चैट में मैसेज करें ताकि वो पढ़ लें. I think Nazar.
I think there are some issues.
Maybe he joined again. I think so. He's left. Maybe invite to another. Yeah, he's connecting.
Well, we have it. Luckily, we have with us Dr. Sabur Ghayur, former.
Why not? Yeah, just a minute. Just a minute. I think Zahoor bhai, please.
Hello.
Hello, Nazar bhai. Can you hear me?
जी सुन रहा हूँ.
अच्छा, thank you very much. And in fact, Thanks all of them, colleagues, panelists, and those who are present here in this very important forum organized by Workers Employer Bilateral Council of Pakistan, where we definitely are partner also as worker organization. First of all, in fact, I really apologize sometime if there will be any mistake in communication, but so far it is good. In terms of where I had suddenly to arrive today in Paris for tomorrow conference, but then day after tomorrow I will be leaving back. So it is very short trip. So here also we are discussing the Afghan trade union and workers' right issues after the new situation in Afghanistan. First of all, on the May Day, definitely this is the celebration in which, on the basis of which the foundation of the International Labour Organization came in 1919. Because first thing on the May Day, it was demanded that there should have been a division of 24 hours, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for other extra work. So this was the foundation of the ILO, on the basis of which it was formed in 1919. The only thing what it was that the first and foremost convention at that time, the convention number 1 of the ILO came, was for the hours of work, which was fixed. And let I say here that United Kingdom, which was the first country in the world which ratified the ILO convention number 1 on hours of work. But unfortunately, discrimination even at that time started, that this was not applicable for the rest of the continent under colonialism, including our British Indian continent. There was a long and hard voice at that time. It came from the pioneer of the trade union movement, including V.V. Giri, who later became president of the India. And that also Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, our father of nation, and rest from the India, in which then it was, this discrimination was soon ended. And then hours of work was for all. So by this way, what we feel is now we have gone further ahead, in which sometime it was very difficult for employer and worker to sit together. But Workers Employer Bilateral Council of Pakistan was established by all eminent employer and eminent trade union leader in Pakistan. And this was the experience which was shown very good at that time. And there were certain things. And moreover, the Pakistan government labor policy 2002 recognized Workers Employer Bilateral Council of Pakistan. I am very happy to learn from Brother Naidu, our present country director. He mentioned this, and we as a worker organization fully support him, that ILO country office now support the WEBCOP activities, so that there should come some joint action in which there is no need for us, the third party, and we can become consensus on it. And more particularly, it is because of that seed of the WEBCOP that I told to Brother Naidu last week, that even in the federal tripartite committee, in which we are almost together on the issues in which we have that bilateralism, which is established and which should grow from strength to strength in the time to come, because we need very much that. Beside, there are 190 ILO conventions, but a lot of it, like very good, it was mentioned also about from Brother Naidu, about declarations also, social justice declaration for fair globalization, and centenary declaration, Philadelphia declaration. So by this way, the call for action, now new one, which is for the centenary declaration, we need very much these declarations so that they go down in awareness to all workers and employer organization. And first and foremost is WEBCOP in Pakistan is very important for this. Beside this, it can be then for rest of the others. So decent work country program is one very high agenda. As the coming ILC, International Labour Conference, which has put it that there should come a discussion, because this was started with Brother John Samavia, the previous country director from the global south of the ILO. So now, in fact, we are very lucky to have that for the first time, The Director General has come from the African region, and Brother Gilbert Hangbo. And what I feel in him is that for the first time from the developing perspective of the world, there would be in a very good hand for the future of the ILO with all those declarations previously, as well as ILO conventions, which are around 190. So by this way, I think we can go ahead in a way where strengthening of the relationship and that of reinvigorating the future and future of work, as it mentioned already very well in this connection. So let me see in concluding one important thing is that there is a very dumpy road ahead still to come, because still in Philadelphia Declaration, poverty anywhere constitutes danger to prosperity everywhere. I usually mention in the ILC forum, still sometimes becomes a dream, and decent work country programs in Pakistan. No doubt there was some problem of also COVID, which also affected it. But if this new it is coming, some of the things in which some evaluation should come, and moreover, it should be very much enhanced further, this decent work country program. I really appreciate Employer Federation of Pakistan, Brother Zaki, and WEBCOP, Brother Nazar, and Brother Sattar, Brother Siddiqui Saab, if he is listening. So all of them, I think this is good initiative that on the May Day, although because of the Eid festival, workers in the Pakistan could not celebrate it in a way where it is usually demonstrated previously, even in the Ramadan. And moreover, Brother Chaudhry Naseem Iqbal is very much in a way forward, because on the May Day, he wanted to make this, and I requested him that since I have to very suddenly come here for tomorrow, this conference on Afghanistan, today I arrived. So thank you all very much. And we fervently hope, as Brother Naidu has mentioned, that the role of WEBCOP, how it can bring and how it can be strengthened under the aspects of International Labour Organization, because this role is very important in terms of achieving a lot to what it is the challenges for us in future. So therefore, decent work country program, as well as rest of the other workers' right and as well as industry rights issues, in which we have to go further ahead in the time to come, and our roles can become strengthened and strengthened with all our giant efforts, and hope that it would be crowned with success in the time to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zahur Bhai. Now, may I request Mr. Amado Sako from
Yes.
International Organization of Employers, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, my apologies. In fact, I'm not in Geneva today. I'm in Africa, so I was having some connectivity issues. So distinguished government representative and delegation, dear colleagues of the private sector, dear colleagues of ILO, ladies and gentlemen. So I feel honored to be here today talking about this important topic of social and solidarity economy. So as mentioned, my name is Amadou Sako. I'm the advisor in charge of Africa at the IOE, the International Organization of Employers, which is the largest network of the private sector, representing 159 members in 150 countries and over 50 million companies. So our vision at the IOE is really to create a sustainable economic environment around the world in collaboration with our members and partners that promotes free enterprises and is fair and beneficial to both business and society. So as mentioned earlier by Mr. Naidu, even though the subject of the social and solidarity economy is not new, its policy importance and visibility are since the turn of the century. And there will even be, as mentioned, a general discussion on the topic at this year's International Labour Conference. And the general discussion will be the first ILO comprehensive discussion on the SSE. And this debate will be held based on a report that was produced entitled Decent Work and the Social and Solidarity Economy. So the various crises that humanity has faced for a century, including the most recent one, the COVID-19 crisis, have brought us over the time to ask ourselves many questions about the organization of our societies, our ways of working, and even sometimes the end goal of our existence on earth as humans. It is important to acknowledge the positive role of social and solidarity economy in contributing to advance decent work and sustainable development. A social or public purpose, prohibition or limitation of profit distribution, democratic and participatory governance, voluntary cooperation, autonomy and independence, care for people and the planet. And can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. So integrity. The social and solidarity economy is characterized by a set of principles and values which make the subject deserve great attention. But above all, in a context where more and more traditional enterprises are also sharing many of these values, although under different forms such as corporate and social responsibility, it is important to mention that one of the main differences between SSE units and traditional enterprises is the quest for profit. There is currently not yet a universal agreement on what the SSE is and is composed of, and no data available to make such assumption. The social and solidarity economy is characterized by a plurality of organizational forms and terminologies whose evolutive existence very much depends on the national, local, and sectoral context. As an example, for the OECD, the social economy includes only association, cooperatives, foundation, mutual organization, and social enterprises. For France, the law includes traditional SSE players as defined by their legal regime. So association, foundation, cooperative, and mutual associations, and introduces a new type of enterprises, which in French is called économie solidaire et sociale. Those SSEs enterprise have a social utility, understood as activities oriented toward vulnerable people, combating social exclusion, and sustainable development. To end, for Quebec, as the last example, SSE's units are restricted to cooperative, mutual, and association. Active participation of vulnerable and marginalized people in SSE units can contribute to redressing entrenched poverty and inequalities. Furthermore, they can exhibit robust resilience in the face of economic downturns and can have the ability to support their members and the wider communities. SSE's units can also help to scale up the activities of informal economy units through collective forms of entrepreneurships, enhancing their bargaining position and facilitating the access of workers to social protection. However, from a global perspective, and despite the momentum on the topic, it is important to acknowledge that the social and solidarity economy remains a widespread but minority phenomenon in the world and limited in terms of economic contribution. As employers, we believe that the social and solidarity economy is part of the private sector, that traditional enterprises should not be inadvertently disadvantaged or discouraged by measures to promote SSE's units. SSE's units and traditional enterprises, especially medium and small enterprises, have similarities and also face similar challenge related to governance gap, productivity, creation of employment opportunities, skills development, and gender equality and diversity, among others. Hence, SSE units must be treated in accordance with national law.
I can't hear him, or it's like this with everybody.
You cannot hear me? You cannot hear me?
Oh, but we can, but the problem is
Can you?
there.
You cannot hear me now?
No, please continue. Please continue. Everybody.
Okay, so you can hear me. Perfect. So I was saying that SSE's units must be treated in accordance with national law and practice, and on terms no less favorable than those granted to other forms of enterprises, in particular micro, small, and medium companies. According to the ILO report, Decent Work and the Social Solidarity Economy, the main challenge that the SSE is facing is that its units may be concentrated in segments of the supply chain with low productivity and high risk. They may have limited resource and capacity, which make it difficult for them to compete in the supply chain and enter higher value markets. To ensure their long-term sustainability, SSE units need to diversify their activity and upgrade their processes and products. They also need to invest in training and in improving skills, know-how, processes, and equipment. So a recent ILO study shows that in Cameroon, a country in Africa, the largest obstacle to the operation of SSE units were limited access to financial services, high input costs, and limited access to infrastructure. The main obstacle to the development of SSE units was a lack of information regarding support program and the high cost of advisory services. Commonly encountered by small and medium-sized enterprises, access to finance is also a crucial challenge for developing the SSE. Certain features of SSE units facilitate access to various forms of finance. These include, for instance, donation, grants, affordable loans from the government, complementary currency schemes, collection of capitals from their members and other stakeholders, and the reinvestment of surplus. Access to the traditional banking system, however, is often highly constrained. In a context where SSE units in various sectors are expanding and diversifying their activities and their capital requirement looks set to increase, access to a broader range of financial instruments will likely be necessary. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, to end, I would like to stress that despite the higher principles and values, SSE units must be financially sustainable. Otherwise, it will require a constant flow of subsidies from taxpayers and charitable givers, which are difficult to guarantee indefinitely. As mentioned earlier, SSE's units are facing challenges related to governance gaps, productivity, creation of employment opportunities, skills development, and gender equality and diversity, among others. Demonstrating a realistic approach that takes into account productivity and competitiveness, among others, is necessary to meet this challenge. Successful SSE units wishing to thrive, grow, and expand at national and international level, as for example, the Spanish cooperative Mondragon, might need to adapt to remain sustainable in the long term to diversify and be competitive on international market while keeping their core value under new institutionalized. Thank
you. Thank you, Mr. Amado. And now I will request Dr. Sabur Ghayur, former chairman, Policy Planning Cell, Ministry of Labor, Deed and Labor Ministry. Dr. Sabur Ghayur, please.
Thank you very much, Raza Saab. Distinguished panelists, ladies, gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Although Mr. Raza did inform that I am the former chairman of the Policy Planning Cell of the Ministry of Labor, but I have been wearing different hats over the years or over the decades. So the topic under discussion today, which is very important to us and to my heart as well, reminds me of my more than 7 years of work with the ICFTU APRO, which is now ITUC APRO, now it is basically AP, where I was the divisional director for policies. And there, the Zorawan said that luckily the new Director General is from the African country and he will be sufficiently ensuring integration of the perspectives of the developing countries. Well, we in our modest way during those years and up to 2006 January, we have been trying, when I was there, maybe later on as well, to see or ensure as how Asian perspective is integrated in the global debate or any issue. In a discussion, if you want, I can name many of them. And since Brother Evan is currently in Paris and is going to meet or attend the meeting on Afghanistan, and reminds me of the initial assistance which I was able to provide to the ICFTU, APRO, or the ITUC AP, then Pakistan Workers Federation, and maybe ILO during those years, where I was able to use my contacts in Afghanistan, because I worked there for about 3 years as in the Ministry of Labor, to develop linkages with the trade union movement over there and to see how far they are representative of the working class over there. So this is very important for me. I'm very happy to see the things which we initially discussed, and Brother Evan with his forceful voice and the motivation to others has been all through these days. Now he's in Paris advocating certain assistance to the Afghan trade union movement. It reminds me also when I was in the ICFTU APRO to see, and I'm very happy that the social aspect, which at that time was in the terms of revision of the ILO recommendation cooperative, where I acted for 2 consecutive years as worker secretary on the revision during revision days of the ILO convention, the recommendation on cooperative. So this is basically the background which I wanted to inform because of the discussion which are very near to us over here. But then there are certain ground realities which we should not be ignoring at all. And these are to look as how far we have progressed up till now in terms of the improvement in the decent work indicators, because we observe not only in our dear Pakistan, but a number of developing countries. I would name them because I'm basically now focusing on our country, Pakistan, that there are decent work deficit which still exists. So this is the scenario as a whole. We have as yet not been able to ensure minimize decent work deficits indicators in Pakistan. The same could be true for other countries as well. So this is the base from where we have to look into very seriously and very objectively as how we can move forward and see as how employment creation, which is becoming a greater issue for developing countries and more so in Pakistan. The rights at work, I will not explain where they are lying now. The social protection, access and accessibility and affordability, social dialogue, they are well known to us all. So I want and I believe you are all very much familiar with all those areas which have to be decently integrated on future discussion, which is on SSEs. And when you look into the social sustainable development goals 8, there again we are talking about employment creation and decent work and productive work, etc., etc. So now coming to the area where we are focusing now on the SSCs, as a former policymaker and somehow even a researcher and interested in the employment and labor market issues in developing countries, I see there are 2 or 3 areas which are to be very carefully looked into and to be seen as how they are woven into the debate or discussion which is likely to take place in the forthcoming ILC from the developing countries' perspective. One is to see as how, and I think the predecessor did indicate the skilling part. The skilling, upgradation, and in conformity with the market rates or SSCs is critical. We have to see as how we can tailor our skills development programs. Pakistan has moved ahead with the skill development programs over the years, since at least in the last 10 decades, one decade, I would see that there is significant improvement over there. But now we have to see as how we integrate our part, with the skilling part with the SSAs, and then access to finance. I have been recently. Are you hearing me, Nazar Saab? Hello.
बिल्कुल
Yes,
बिल्कुल
sir.
सुन रहे हैं आपको सर, सुन रहे हैं.
अच्छा ठीक है. Access to finance is a major issue for the targeted group in Pakistan, for the the smaller group, the small enterprises and micro enterprises, and to certain extent even the micro in the small and medium enterprises as well. So we have to see as how to ensure access to the finance to those establishments which are catering, which are moving ahead with the SSEs. And this is very important. This is critical. We have to see as how facilitation centers could be established, could be arranged, or whereby the skill upgradation is important. And I think our Nazar Saab is very much integrated in the skill development programs in Pakistan as well as Mr. Majid Aziz. And market access is issue in developing countries. Market access is an issue where if we have to look into the wider perspective, the huge number of the employing units which we have in developing countries, and to see as how their productivity, they could be made productive and ensure greater market access is a major cause of lower income and certainly then profitability as well. And it doesn't, then it is linked with decent work conditions or environment. So I would suggest that when we look into these areas, firstly, so decent work indicators, which we have to very cleverly look into and see where the deficits still lie after 10 years of very significant work which has been done not only in Pakistan but a large number of the developing countries. And then we have to see as how we can move ahead with the SSAs and where the Asian perspective or the developing countries perspective is very well integrated in the global in the general discussion in the forthcoming ILC to see as how that is integrated, which is important and critical, so that developing countries and Asian perspective as well, and certainly within the Asian countries, since I belong to South Asian countries, South Asian perspective is very important. And I think colleagues, you're all very familiar with the situation which we are having here in Pakistan or other developing countries. And to sum up, market access, skilling, upgradation, and the development of the training programs which really cater to the needs of the SSEs. These are the few observations which I wanted to make in the initial phase of our discussion. And if there are certain questions, I would be very happy to answer.
Thank you, Dr. Saab.
For your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Thank you, Dr. Saab. And now may I request Karamat Saab for his. Karamat Saab, are you hearing me? Karamat Saab? Naseem, Chaudhry Naseem Saab, agar aap, may I request Chaudhry Naseem Saab?
नजर साहब, चोइस साहब ने कहा है कि चौधरी यकूब साहब ने ज्वाइन किया है, तो चाहेंगे कि एमएलएफ की तरफ से चौधरी यकूब साहब बेसिकली उनकी जगह पे बोले। तो यकूब साहब ने
चौधरी यकूब साहब
चौधरी यकूब साहब म्यूट पे हैं,
तो जरा देखो उनको।
मैं कर रहा हूँ।
करामत भाई सुन रहे हैं?
नजर साहब, जब तक चौधरी याकूब साहब ऑनलाइन हो रहे हैं, आप चौधरी यासीन को चौधरी नसीम साहब को।
चौधरी नसीम साहब ने कहा है कि वो है नहीं, मेरा ख्याल वो चाह रहे थे कि उनकी तरफ से वो साथ, अगर यू कैन, अगर आप कुछ वो कर सको तो।
जी सर, डेफिनेटली। दरअसल बस क्योंकि चौधरी साहब का हुक्म था चौधरी याकूब साहब का, तो इसलिए मैं उनका 1 मिनट बस मुझे एक दफा कॉल करने दें, मैं आई विल स्पीक।
Meanwhile, Karamat साहब को देख ले, अगर Karamat and Mr. Fasi Al-Karim Siddiqui, whatever. Meanwhile,
Fasi bhai, are you hearing me?
जी
Fasi bhai, may I request you for your remarks, comments? वसी भाई?
आवाज आ रही मेरी?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I would like to congratulate our very distinguished speaker for participating in the May-Day event of Employers Federation of Pakistan. I think it is for the first time that WEBCOP has taken the initiative of bringing the tripartite plus partners together on a Labor Day to discuss issue of vital importance from Pakistan's perspective. The very subject of this webinar reflects the deep interest that Pakistan is taking in the comprehensive discussion, which is going to be opened in the International Labour Conference on decent work through SSE units or social solidarity economy. Employers Federation of Pakistan has been adding serious attention to the need of transforming informal economy into formal economy. Pakistan is one of those countries which has 73% of its economy as informal, and it is one of the biggest challenges. And SSE initiative is going to play a major role in helping such a transition in countries, particularly developing countries like Pakistan. And for EFP, it is a very important opportunity to highlight as to how we should be able to integrate a large part of Pakistan's economy into the formal mainstream through SSE values, which will help them grow not as small enterprises or micro enterprises only, but as value-based micro enterprises. And I think this is a challenge which the Employers Federation of Pakistan will accept with a lot of commitment to see that the cooperative and small units in the economy are able to be groomed to a position where they become value-based SSE partners and they can contribute to the economy much faster than their counterparts in the in the general economy. I would also like to add that Employers Federation of Pakistan is going to facilitate SMEs in a big way to play their role in the economic activity. And as we are going to be now a strong partner in promoting SSE units, it will be in the fittest of things that Employers Federation is thinking of starting advisory services for SSE units in Pakistan, which will be a great move forward towards integrating the informal economy into formal economy. This is surely beginning of a very important journey. And as Ravi and Mahindra pointed out, the importance of workers-employers collaboration in promoting decent work through SSE units is going to play a very essential role in shaping the future of work in Pakistan. And I think the very growth of Pakistan's economy depends on strengthening the smaller units. And that is what has happened in countries like Brazil, in countries like Vietnam. And I think there is no reason why these small units cannot become the foundation and cornerstone of Pakistan's economy if they are grown on value-based system of operation. So I look forward that today's seminar will lay the foundation of a very important journey which we are going to start together in collaboration with our workers' partner. And I'm sure the government will be forthcoming with its full assistance in helping to achieve the targets we are trying to set under this theme through the discussion going to be opened in the ILG this June. Thank you very much.
Thank you, फसी भाई. और अब साद अगर अभी चौधरी याकूब साहब अगर आगे हो तो साद.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम साहब. जो याकूब साहब को अनम्यूट ही नहीं करना आ रहा. He is present with the name under Chaudhry Naseem Ahmed, but
रामत साहब अवेलेबल है.
but I can speak now as Choi Saab is unable to speak. So first of all, I'm really grateful that and I'm really happy that today on this very important day we are together discussing about social importance of social economy and social and solidarity economy, basically social dialogue overall. So we have seen together EFP and PWF in the last from last many years that wherever EFP and PWF have collectively taken initiative and collaborative and did collaboration in many of the initiatives, they have been very successful. One of a very important success in when it comes to bilateral negotiations and bilateral healthy relationship is in Sialkot forward gear, and we all have witnessed there that just because of the healthy bilateral relationship there, not just that the company, the forward gear is progressing, but thankfully the workers are also they are earning handsome wages and they are earning good, and that is all because we have a real trade union there with a true representation, not pocket union. So I believe that when we talk about achieving the social dialogue positive result, so what is important is the presence of trade unions, the effective and true trade unions in the industry, which I think that under the umbrella of WEBCOP, EFP and PWF should collectively work on bringing positive image of positive image of bilateral relationship in terms of also promoting bringing up the good practices by the employers, but also the good practices where the true unions are there. So that I believe when we can refer to one of the recent incident that happened in Sialkot with one of a worker from Sri Lanka who was working in Sialkot. That terrible incident, there was no union there, and I believe if there was union there, if there could have been strong bilateral relationship and social dialogue in that industry between the worker and the employer, that incident would have not happened, and we would have not have to the Pakistan workers and employers would not have to face such shame, I would say, due to that incident. And by summing up all, I will not take much time, but I believe that the social dialogue, to the promotion of social dialogue and bilateralism is the only way toward industrial peace and harmony. And PWF is fully committed to promote social dialogue and bilateralism under the umbrella of WEBCOP. And I believe I, being the General Secretary of WEBCOP Punjab, we will definitely in the coming year will work together to have strong bilateral relationship within Punjab and the promotion of social dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you, Saad. Karamat साहब, आप अगर अवेलेबल हैं, so if Karamat साहब is not available, Ismail bhai,
जी please continue please.
President साहब,
कई दफा अनम्यूट का भी मसला है, तो मेरे ख्याल से आप लोग अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं उनको अगर चाहें तो खुद से, मतलब आपके जो यूज कर रहे हैं, जो EFP वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस से हमारे IT के कुलीग हैं, वो अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं उन्हें।
नहीं, करामत साहब असल में किसी एक और प्रोग्राम में भी थे, तो लेट्स वी क्या कहते हैं कम टू दी कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क्स। मैं रिक्वेस्ट इस्माइल सत्तार साहब, प्रेसिडेंट एम्प्लॉयज फेडरेशन ऑफ पाकिस्तान, फॉर हिज कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क्स।
जी बहुत शुक्रिया नजर साहब, थैंक यू वेरी मच। अस्सलाम वालेकुम everybody and a good afternoon. First of all, I would like to say a very big thank you to all the speakers. I would like to name them all one by one, and the special thanks is because today is a Sunday and everybody has a day off today, but in spite of being a Sunday, everybody is present here. So the speakers, I would like to first of all thank Mr. Mahendra Naidu, and then our great friend Ravi, Mr. Amado Sako, and our friend Zahoor Awan Saab, Dr. Sabur Saab, Chaudhry Naseem Saab, although he was not available, but his son was there, mashallah. And Fasi Saab, Karamat Ali Saab, we couldn't hear him, but he was also there. And Chaudhry Yaqub Saab, who's on whose behalf, I guess, Saad gave the remarks. And last but not the least, the chairman of WEBCOP, Mr. Zaki Ahmed Khan, and the architect of the show, Nazar Bhai. So, gentlemen, although they have written ladies and gentlemen, but I can't find any lady here, so I'll just stick to gentlemen. The subject of social and solidarity economy is not new, and there is growing recognition for its role in creating employment. There have not been many discussions on the topic. To me, the theme of webinar, decent work and social and solidarity economy, is very important, and it has been timely organized by the need for new ways of doing business, and social responsible business is growing to provide social protection and social justice to all, and achieving the target of the Sustainable Development Agenda 2030. As Fasi Saab mentioned, that Employers Federation is taking a lot of initiatives in developing the SME sector, the SSE sector. One of the recent examples I would like to give and bring to the knowledge of the August gathering here is we have recently started developing chemicals from the mineral resources of Pakistan, and 100% target is the small and medium enterprise and that segment of the society. And Alhamdulillah, we have so far been able to set up 3 good industrial setups. And this, although is a very small start, but it will grow very fast, inshallah. Again, when we come to decent work, it is not just about a job. It is more about the quality of a job that provides an adequate income to keep workers and their families out of poverty, with basic rights at work and social protection. It is the responsibility of employers to provide workers with all the rights guaranteed under the local labor laws and ILO conventions. Productive employment and decent work are key to sustainable and inclusive development. I am happy to inform you that the Employers Federation of Pakistan, as a constituent of ILO and signatory to the Pakistan Decent Work Country Program, is playing a vital role in promoting the decent work agenda as a part of its strategy for sustainable development. EFP is also making efforts to ensure that the employers, as their responsibility, must comply with labor laws and respect human and labor rights at the workplace. The government is also required to play its role in facilitating and creating a favorable environment. The EFP has initiated a program recognizing employers for demonstrating their good practices in decent work, which includes occupational safety and health, compliance with social protection floors, and strategic alignment with the SSGs. EFP also implemented projects for promoting principles of M&E declaration and fundamental principles right at the work, which included capacity building and training of professional managers and trade unions, and skill development program helping a job creation for youth. Achieving a decent work for all is a real challenge, particularly in developing countries like Pakistan, where the majority of the jobs are in the informal sector. This requires integrated approaches and collective efforts of all the stakeholders to work and address the underlying conditions that result in decent work deficit due to weak governance and developmental issues and mitigate the multi-dimensional challenges faced by the workers at the workplace. The social and solidarity economy is an ethical and value-based approach to economic development that prioritizes the welfare of the people over profit, may be a viable solution and can contribute to promoting decent work and sustainable development agenda of 2030. It is encouraging that the ILO governing body has taken up SSE for comprehensive discussion in the meeting of its technical committee and working for strengthening SSE's role to contribute in promoting decent work and sustainable development goals. We believe ILO will help EFP and other stakeholders in developing an action plan for expanding the role and contribution of SSE in achieving decent work for all. I would like to once again thank each and every of the speakers as well as the participants. I can see a couple of board members. I can see Majid Bhai, I can see Humayun Bhai, and a few other board members who have also joined and have been patiently hearing, because today's Zoom management has been wonderful. Even I was deceived. I've logged in at 2:50 and I was with the other side, and I was getting worried that how will I speak when my turn comes. So Nazar Bhai gave me a call and made me understand that this is a different system. So thank you very much, everybody. It was a wonderful event. And once again, spending your Sunday for the Labor Day, it's highly appreciable. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Thank you, Ismail Bhai. Thanks a lot. With this, we come to the end to this webinar. I'm extremely thankful on behalf of WEBCOP, Employees Federation of Pakistan, trade unions, and other members. I'm thankful to all the speakers, the participants who, in spite of their holiday, spare their valuable time and make a contribution. But this was a cause, and always above the personal issues. So I'm extremely thankful to everyone. With this, thank you a lot.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone.
Nazar Bhai, Zabardast, well
Very
done.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.